Yo, what up guys, it's ARTFX and my newest Serum preset pack is out. It's aimed at cinematic music and today we're gonna have a listen to how it sounds. Let's get to it. So I have Serum open right here, and this pack is aimed at cinematic music, it's aimed at cinematic sounds, but these sounds can work really well in other genres as well. I mean, cinematic sounds work with any genre, and because a lot of people don't really use these kind of sounds in their tracks, it'll make your track sound slightly different, and maybe a little bit more original than other producers out there. So let's get to it. Now this pack first of all comes with a total of 55 brand new wavetables. Some of these wavetables have been used to create the presets that are in this pack, but there are actually a whole bunch of presets in here that haven't been used in the pack at all, so who knows what kind of sound you can make with them. That's a pretty cool sound. Let's put an LFO on that so that we can really hear what's going on. We also have this one. You can hear that it sounds completely different. I've got some really cool ones in here. I really try to create some wavetables that sound completely different from what's already coming with Serum when you buy it. And I actually use a lot of the inbuilt warping features of Serum, and I really spend a lot of time on these presets. So let's see how this one sounded. It's called Digital Morphs. So that one is really crazy, right? So just small changes will give it a really different sound, and that's definitely what people liked a lot about the massive wavetables. There's some really cool ones in there that a lot of people seem to use, like the Scrapyard and I think it was called Carbon. These wavetables had so many different types of sounds in there, and that really seemed like, you know, a lot of people like those kind of wavetables, so I really put a lot of those in this pack as well. You know, like this one. Just really crazy if we slow that down. You can kind of like hear what's going on. So there's a lot of those wavetables in there. Let's just look at some other ones. I think this one is pretty cool. You know, you can really get some cool stuff with that. Definitely cool. Let's see what else we have in here. I think freaking wasps, yeah. That one is just weird. You can see what's going on basically. It's pretty cool. There's some really interesting wavetables coming with this pack. It's a good one. See, there's just really interesting sounds. And there's so many of these. I mean, there's 55 in total, and I think there's definitely some really cool ones in here. Weird phase shift. That one has a really weird thing at the end. Just look at what the waveform does if we move this. You can get some really almost out of tune sounds with that, because you're kind of like moving the waveform around, but it's not really going up and down in pitch or anything. It's just it's kind of like similar when you're doing have a sound in a sampler and you're moving the phase knob around, so you're actually moving around the position of the playback position in the sound. So it's a really weird sound, but it's definitely interesting to use in some patches. And yeah, there's just so many of these. There's really cool ones. Now, that's it for the wavetables. There's also some interesting noises that come with it. As you can see, there's some really cool noises in here. I spent some time, I had some old recordings lying around that I recorded myself, and I thought, you know, let's use those to create some really interesting noise layers for Serum. So I've got some organic sounding things, like an Amazon rainforest. So you can layer that on top of a pad or something like that, and we'll give it some really interesting sounds. And there's so many in here. There's a choir patch, so that gives you a nice like vocal sound, and these are labeled by key, so I can do it with the piano, for instance. There's a piano in here. Now, when you turn on the key tracking thing, it kind of like moves down a little bit. What I like to do is I like to set this to 12%. That kind of like gives it the key you want. At 0% it's also fine. But it's, I think, an octave too low when you start working with the oscillator, so I really like to put that up to 12%. And to be quite honest, it sounds pretty interesting. So you can actually layer that in a pad. When you turn the key tracking on, it will perfectly work, and you can actually make pads and presets that have a piano sound in there. So that's really cool. It really gives you an interesting sound, and you're gonna hear what I mean with that later on in this video when we're gonna look at the presets. So there's some more stuff in here. I got some resampled pianos, and for this one I really spent some time resampling pianos and reversing them, so this can really work to create shimmering sounds on top of pads, or just some really interesting things. Just listen. See, so that's a cool one. And I also have this one, which is like a granulized piano, so that's really cool. You can definitely add that on there as well. There's some other ones in here. There's some rain samples and some running water, which is pretty cool. Those kind of things. It's great for layering on top of basses as well. You see people doing that a lot when they make neurofunk basses. They layer Foley sounds on top of their bass. Well, with this you can actually do that in Serum. You don't actually have to do it in a sampler. You can use it in Serum, put that Foley layer in there of the running water or anything you like, and just run that through the effects and filters, and it's gonna sound amazing. So now to the presets. That's actually the most important part of this pack, of course. And the presets, I think, are really interesting. Now we can have a look at these. You can see there's some arps in here, some basses, a couple of drones, some effect sounds, a whole bunch of keyboard kind of sounds, so those are more like plucky sounds and guitar sounds and just stuff like that. Then I've got some leads, and then we've got a whole variety of pad sounds, which I think are one of the most important things in this pack. Then we've got a few percussion and a few sequence sounds. Now let's take a listen to these pads, because I think the pads are the most important and most strongest part of this pack. Let's have a listen to this particular pad called Cinematic Rhythm. I mean, that's really beautiful. That just sounds really good. And pretty much all of these pads sound really great. It's more of a disturbing horror movie kind of pad, which is really interesting as well. I've got this one. Now you might think, where is the arpeggiated rhythm? Well, that's the whole thing. I set up my arpeggiators in Serum maybe a little bit different than other people, and I think I should let you know and show you a little bit how that looks. What you would do is, let's say we want to have an F minor arpeggiator. You just create an F minor chord, like that. And what you then do is you offset the notes, like that. And you get something that sounds like this. I can put one an octave higher, and you get that. Extend this. And you can see how fast this is going. Just listen. You can hear you can get some different tones using those macros. Now let's go to the next preset, which is atonal. Now this one is a little bit different, but I think it's still pretty cool. You can get some interesting stuff going from there. Let's see what else we've got. Attack swing. Let's bring that down. So that's a pretty interesting sounding one as well. You know, there's a whole bunch of these arps in here. Yeah, and how this works basically is you have the LFOs right here. So I have an LFO set to the level of all the oscillators I'm using, and I'm not using that one right here, so we can do that. And just by changing you can actually do that. So I can do if I just do, you know, make this twice as long, you get pretty much the same thing. You can change the speed of these LFOs. So that's a pretty cool thing. Now, so now we get to the basses, and the basses are pretty cool. This one is really interesting. Every time you hit a note, it basically starts at different positions. It will give you a whole bunch of different sounds. And it just sounds really cool. You can take out the Alpes effect. And we've got this one as well. This one is really cool. Really love that sound. And It's got some nice bass to it as well. Really nice one. Just some cool basses. Some nice stab bass. This could actually work well in a drum and bass track as well. So then we've got some drones, and this is actually pretty cool. Listen. You can really get some interesting sounds. And you can change the pitch as well with these macros. You really get some interesting sounds from that. We can play different notes. Definitely nice. Really, well, different sounds, I guess. It's not really like the sounds that you hear in most packs these days. It's a little bit of a different sound, and that was what I was going for. You can make some really cool sounds with those kind of presets. Just some interesting screechy noises. We've got some effects sounds. Make some interesting things with that. I've made some rises as well, so you can actually do just hold a note. So you actually can make the rises just as long as you want to. You just create the note as long as you want the riser, and then you just automate the riser knob so that it goes up over the time of that note, and you will have a riser. It's really simple. You can also deconstruct these presets to kind of like learn how I made these, and make your own risers. Definitely interesting. I think there's another riser in here. Now we're getting to the more key sounds, and these are pretty interesting. These are, well, pretty much like pianos and other kinds of keyboard instruments. So you can hear there's a lot of overtones in there. So definitely some interesting sounds. You can change the pitch of those overtones with the other macro. I've got some distorted sounds. Which just give you a little bit of a different sound, I guess. So this is one of those piano sounds I was talking about earlier. Just has kind of like a piano sound, and you can actually use the mod wheel with this one. To dampen the sound, and you can use the pitch wheel as well, of course. Gives it a nice sound. I've got some other things in here. Some other piano sounds. This one is a little bit high pass, so it has a little bit less low frequencies. Let's see what else we got. There's some plucky sounds. Really interesting stuff. I think this one is pretty weird as well. Really interesting sounds. Synthetic orchestra. Now we go to the leads, and these are pretty cool as well. I've also tried to make a violin recently in one of my videos on my channel, and this is actually one of those presets that I made in that video. So it's not like a completely realistic violin, but I think it actually sounds pretty good when you play overlapping notes. Some other sounds. Some more like a lead sound. Some interesting saw wave kind of leads, but it doesn't really sound like a normal saw. It's really interesting. I got some brass sounds as well. Which when you play them in chords, they get this really distorted sound. And that is actually coming from the effects section in this particular preset. There's a distortion on there. If you don't want that, just turn the distortion off. That one just sounds weird. And really light sounding leads as well. So there's pretty much a whole bunch of different kind of sounds in here. Kind kind of like the other violin. This one sounds slightly different, so there's a bunch of different ones in here. Now I've also made this one. It has a really nice vocal sound to it. So if you like the sound you hear in this pack, go to my website right now. The link to the product page will be in the description below this video. Check it out, and if you made something cool with these presets, leave a comment below this video. I would be really interested to hear what you do with this. This is a great way how you can support my channel as well, because all the money that comes from these things will be going to my channel. Other than that, yeah, I hope you liked this video, and I see you back soon. Peace.